Do you have a problem or a possibility? Not a fan of positive thinking? Let's call it possible thinking. Welcome to Zen Maintenance with me, Christine Burke, your friend and self-care guide. This is a podcast about self-care and self-discovery for every age and every stage of life. In this podcast, we use the wisdom teachings of yoga and related well-being practices to discover more about who you are and how to live your most liberated life, one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So if you're a returning listener, thank you for showing up and being part of what's good in this world again. And if you're brand new, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to meet you and to share a little bit of life with you, some simple, powerful time together. So let's get going. I could not be more excited than to be here with you today. There is something on my mind and on my heart that has been quite life-changing for me and for those that I've shared it with, and now I get to share it with you. So thanks for showing up in curiosity, in the spirit of living your most interesting, creative, authentic life and opening to more joy, more healing, more living. So let's just take a moment. And before we dive in and really get into what I'm after today, let's get comfortable. Close your eyes if you're able to. Get grounded. Start to clear the mind. And if your eyes are closed and you're able to be still, do that. Become still. If you're walking, driving, doing the dishes, folding the laundry, watering plants, taking a work break, feeding the dog, just soften into it a little. Bring the equivalent of letting go and closing your eyes and drawing inward into your position or even into your movement or your posture. And soften yourself and exhale. Wherever you are, however you are, you're where you're meant to be. So follow along, staying alert and staying relaxed as we begin our mindful moment with noticing where you are. If your eyes are closed, we're feeling the body as it leans or drops into the support of the chair or floor or wherever you're sitting. And if your eyes are open and you're moving, become more focused on what is around you and with you. And let's now turn the attention towards your breathing. It may feel like something you've forgotten. And as you remember and notice your breath, let it coax you into the present. Just feel it. Let it remind you of the here moment, the now moment. Rest yourself within yourself a little more. Imagine the way a cat or a dog settles into a resting position with a sigh and a release. Let any resistance in your body or your mind go. Focus on the exhales. Focus on them lasting until you're empty of breath, and then pull your breath comfortably in, filling your inner space. Keep releasing all the breath and then filling your inner space. All the breath, filling the inner space. And keep going with that, feeling all the breath and the inner space. Becoming full and becoming empty. And just letting yourself clear the slate. Drop in. Filling and emptying. Filling and emptying. Starting to gently open your eyes if they were closed, and take in your surroundings. Just notice details that you may often overlook that you haven't seen today. I'm noticing my light, and I'm noticing a little hanging pot that I forgot was up there, and it's a beautiful color of blue. So what are your surroundings? If you're outside, what's the color of the sky? If you're washing dishes, notice the glistening of the soap bubbles, the textures, the sounds, the aromas in your environment. This is your life. You are standing or sitting or moving in the middle of life. And we can experience a mindful meditative moment on a yoga cushion, in a quiet sacred space, or in the middle of a coffee shop. It's about attention and intention. So now that we're a little clearer, a little more grounded, we're ready again for the question of the day. Do you currently have a problem in your life? Or let me try that again. Could you pick out just one of your so-called problems for the purpose of today? Now, I say so-called not because I want to in any way diminish your problem, but because we are going to be looking at them with a different lens. And they may appear a little different, or there may be a shift, a little or even a lot. So choose one that is on the top of your mind, that maybe you lose some sleep over. It might be causing a ripple of fear in the middle of the night, or something that's giving you some agitation, adrenaline. Maybe it's making you mad or frustrated or impatient or aggravated. So if you're currently going through something very major, if you're in a major crisis or deep loss or grief, choose something less powerful. And this should be a problem that you are hungry to solve or resolve and is within reach. And it's reasonable for you right now. If only you could loosen up your thinking or release the grip just a little bit, the anxiety or the fear or the anger that's connected to this and surrounding this problem, at least for a few minutes. This is a problem where you might feel stuck, overwhelmed, and at a loss. And you're just looking for something, someone to come and make it better. Okay, make sure you have it. You could write it down if you want to, or if you're able to. And now the question again. Is there anything about this problem that could be a possibility? Are you familiar with the famous drawing titled My Wife and My Mother-in-Law? It's a cartoon. It's by the British cartoonist Eli Hill. Okay, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to put up a picture, put up a graphic, and you can see it. And if you're listening in, maybe you could look it up later. Eli Hill, British cartoonist, My Wife and My Mother-in-Law. But basically what we see is one drawing that has two very unique perspectives, very different angles. You might be seeing a young woman looking over her right shoulder. Or you might be seeing an older woman looking down and forward. When we see one, it becomes very hard to see the other. And it's also very hard to go back and forth quickly, or even maybe at all between the two. But if we think of one perspective, and we get so narrow in our thinking that we start to turn it into a belief, it is only the young woman, it is only the old woman. We can't see the whole broad picture. We can't see that there's two sides. So it's just a matter of focusing and training ourselves to perceive possibility where we may not have seen it before. So now, before I go any further, I want to briefly touch base on something I alluded to in the title of this podcast, this episode, positive thinking. So it's an important topic in any self-empowerment, self-help practice of any kind, and it can be positively life-changing for us to start to consider more positive perspectives. We might start to reframe things and learn that the positive, optimistic perspective actually can start to change the brain to look for it. But before we get there, for many, it might hit different. We might feel that we're ignoring our very real challenges or those of our global family. When we adopt a persistently rosy view, are we diminishing the reality of overwhelming suffering that is in the world and maybe even in our lives and as part of being human? Well, we certainly don't want to throw out our rose-colored glasses with the bathwater because there is very real suffering in the world. But without those rose-colored glasses, without that ability to look for the pot at the end of the rainbow or look for the rainbow itself, we might end up with no hope, and it can lead to despair. And we might freeze up, unable to get any productive, healthy momentum going at all. Now, this is making me thinking I could do, and I think I will do, an episode that discusses the controversy of positive thinking, or some call it toxic positivity, and what's different about those. Because that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about put your head in the sand, toxic positivity. But that's for another time. We'll dive deeper. But today we are engaging with possible thinking. In yoga philosophy, we find many teachings on the non-reactive mind, the meditative mind, or in Kundalini yoga, what is called the neutral mind. This is the state of mind that exists between reactions of positivity or negativity. It's a path to moving beyond reactive emotions, and it's to find that neutral or balanced center, to find deep clarity and wisdom that can get lost in the fluctuations of our mind. We can make better decisions from this place. We have more meaningful conversations. We can go deeper, strengthen our relationships, have greater levels of bonding. We can increase our ability for self-understanding, as well as understanding others, which is incredibly important to any sort of deepening, bonding, or strengthening of relationships, of course. It makes us better listeners, both to our inner voice and the voice around us, or the voices, I should say. And yes, it can help us see what's possible, and it can often lead us to a more positive outcome. So this is powerful stuff, right? When we're faced with a problem, if we can just afford ourselves a little time to sit quietly with it, to place some distance between our first emotional inner outburst or the knee-jerk reaction of any number of emotions that might be coming up. And if we can just find something neutral, something less charged within us, we can save ourselves a lot of trouble. But also, for our main purpose today, we might relax enough. Like in the beginning, when we just take those mindful moments and we shake off the dust that's happened so far, that's built up, we suddenly see a little more clearly. When we open our eyes, I noticed that little potted plant. What did you see? So we might become open to more awesome possibilities as well. And another way we can approach this is by saying, look where you want to go, not where you don't. Time for a story. A kayak story. So for a period of my life, I had the blessing of going kayaking with my dad in the northernmost part of California on the majestic Klamath River. Now, when you learn how to whitewater kayak, in case you know nothing about this, you're alone in your kayak on a river with a paddle. I mean, you may be with people, of course, I was, and maybe a guide and teacher and so forth, instructor, but it's just you and the kayak, you and the river, and your paddle. As you learn more about the sport, you progress, and the river sections get more exciting and, well, more dangerous. Now, it's important to know what to do if you're knocked over. And basically, you have two choices: the Eskimo roll or the wet exit. Now, the Eskimo roll is a beautiful, graceful thing where you purposefully throw your body to the side into the water, and you use your body. It's sort of a dance with the kayak and your body and the paddle, and you roll all the way over and you land upright, and it's thrilling and cool and beautiful and wonderful. And I could not get consistent. I was not able to perfect the Eskimo roll or any sort of consistency with it. Now, when I did it, I do want to think it was a thing of beauty, but it was not every time, and I could not count on it. So I had the second option as sort of my more frequented, um, I guess, choice. It was sort of lack of choice. And the wet exit is where you basically push your kayak off you and you're kind of suctioned in with this wetsuit material around your waist. So if you're having a bad time of it, if the river is overtaking you, something dangerous is happening, you're pushing yourself out of your kayak like you're pulling off a really tight skirt or really, really tight pants. And it's really awkward and it's pretty scary because remember, the river is going. The river does not stop for you to do the Eskimo roll or the wet exit or anything else, much like life, right? It just keeps going. So anyway, the wet exit, by the time you get out of it, you're just swimming in the water and now you've got to find your kayak, which is further down the river than you, and you've got to get to the side and scramble up maybe, and it's a lot of trouble, but at least you have some exit, right? And so because I couldn't perfect the more beautiful, graceful Eskimo roll, I got very good at not getting knocked over until I'd gone a few years and had progressed and I met Kissing Rock. Now, before you get into any dicey or challenging section of the river and have to navigate your way down with increasingly more white water and less of that beautiful, serene blue water, you get out and you scout the section of the river and you make some choices. So my New Zealand kayak instructor on this particular year was basically a Kiwi river god. And he gave me some of the best advice of my life. I use it to this day. I gave it to you. When you're staring at a big boulder, don't look where you don't want to go. Look where you want to go. Or look where you want to go, not where you don't. So he was referring me to not looking at the gigantic rock that I did not want to kiss with my face, but at the opening to the side of the rock. And there were two, one on each side, the right and the left. And my job was to pick one and focus on that and not be distracted by my problem, which is this humongous boulder. Seems doable, right? I mean, seems like you could choose not to hit the rock. Well, the first thing is you have to make a choice under duress to some degree. And if you don't, well, your choice is made for you and you are kissing the rock. And the second thing is you have to keep your eye on the path to freedom and safety, the path to success. Well, how do you think it went for me? When I was done scouting and I crawled back into my kayak with my heart pounding louder than the moderately raging river, how do you think it went for me? Well, let's just say I got to know that rock and it was terrifying and we got intimate. Yeah, I flipped and I was pulled under and I was pushed under the rock. I could feel it. I could feel the water. I thought I was going to die. And that was probably, I don't know, a handful of seconds, but it felt like forever. And then somehow that river did me the good favor of spitting me out on top of the water. Who knows where my kayak was? And there's the Kiwi god, and he looks at me laughing and says, "You looked at the rock, didn't you?" Well, obviously, yes, I did. I took my eye off that opening, off that path to freedom and safety. I put it right on the problem. I made that problem everything. It was the only thing. So, cut to next year. I'm a year older and wiser, and I'm ready. I'm ready for Kissing Rock. And I have my magic weapon, which is humor. And believe it or not, as bizarre as this is to me and might be to you, Barry White. Now, I don't know if you know the singer Barry White, and in just sort of a strange coincidence, the year he passed away turns out to be the year that I was facing Kissing Rock again. Now, I knew nothing of this, and I barely knew anything of Barry White, but for some reason, as I'm sitting in my kayak and my heart is starting to pound, and I'm heading into that extreme white water and that huge rock, and there are two avenues, and I've chosen the right ahead of time. I chose the right. And I feel so alone. I suddenly decide to make the river my friend. And for some reason, my friend had the voice of Barry White. And this made me laugh. And the river, Barry White the river, rose up to embrace me. and it relaxed me. And I suddenly find myself singing as loud as I can. And it's all about love to love you, baby. I've got the love, baby. I can't even remember. I don't even know what the song was, but it was in the Barry White voice, so deep and so warm. And it was like this big hug. And I focused and laughed and sang my way to the right side of that rock. And next thing I knew, I was sitting on top of the water with a smile, out the other side, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So the thing is, when we get to these points, when the adrenaline takes over, when we're so scared of what might not happen, or we're so scared of what might happen that is what we don't want to happen, we literally can lose sight. We cannot see very well. We cannot breathe very well. The functions of the mind and body are not working in coordination. And the rock can only be seen as a problem. What is the rock for you? What is the possibility? Old woman, young woman, rock, problem, or possibility? Is there something that you're not seeing right now? And if you were to entertain a possibility, would it be to get better, to do better, to be better, to have more fun? Because in that moment on the river, I wanted it all. I wanted to do better. I wanted to get better at kayaking, and I wanted to have fun. So all of a sudden, this entirely new possibility opened up, and laughter had a lot to do with this. So where will you apply this? Right? Where will you apply this question mark? Is this only a problem, or could it be a possibility? And let me give you one more short example. So one afternoon, Clementine and I had planned to take our dog Ginger to a place we call the Romp, where she goes romping. And it's this one really special park, and she's off leash, and it's out in the beautiful air. It's really big. It looks like something, I don't know, it's where I imagine people to frolic in the late 1800s in England and have picnics. It's that sort of big open space with really beautiful trees. And so we're on our way to the Romp. We plan a picnic. Ginger's all excited. She knows where we're going. We pull up, and our whole day was really timed out. We didn't have a lot of time, but we had that chunk. We get there, and the park is closed. It's never closed on this day. Never, ever, ever. But there's been cutbacks. There are not people to work the park, and the park is closed, and we are crushed, and Ginger is crushed. And we get a little mad about why the park has to be closed and who that affects besides us and how sad that is and how unfortunate all the way around. And we're boo-hoo and we're mad. And then I said, do you want to go to the beach? Now, we'd already used our time getting to the park, and it really did mean rearranging things, and it wasn't in the program, and we didn't have whatever we would consider to be beach stuff, but we did it. We just said, yeah. You know what? Maybe the universe, us, the world, whatever is happening here, wants us to go to the beach. And we went to the beach, and it was fantastic. So we do this kind of thing in little choices like that, right? We can make the best of it. We can shift gears. We can choose another path. But when it comes to things that are bigger, when it comes to things like facing Kissing Rock and thinking, I might die, or something very huge in your life, like changing relationships or jobs or cities, these things can be so overwhelming that we might only see what we're afraid of or only feel it. Or it could be that some true problem has arrived in your inbox and now you have to deal with it and you can't see anything good about it at all. But if you took that moment and you just backed off from any sudden choices of what to do about it, could you find something else? Is losing your job only a problem? If somebody canceled on you when you made time for them, is that maybe a gift from the universe of some time for you? Some you time? Is getting older only a problem? Or does it give you some wisdom, some freedom, some understanding, patience that you didn't have in your younger years? Or is being too young your problem? because you lack experience or credit or money or confidence? Or does being young give you energy, enthusiasm, stamina? Does it give you an edge? Heck, your memory. You might not have money in the bank, but you've got memory, and believe me, that could be worth more. If you feel stuck in life, could this be your soul's way of waking you up to try something, to entertain more than what you're currently accepting? Could you grow in some new way? If you're aware of feeling unhealthy, unfit, unhappy, isn't there a possibility to begin something new? Isn't the possibility looming that you could become your fittest, your happiest, your healthiest? If you have trouble in a relationship of any kind, family, love, whatever, could it be a possibility for something more honest, engaging, and nourishing for you both to develop? From where you are, with so much possible ahead of you, isn't there almost infinite possibility? Now, from the point of your Now, from the point of your problem to your possibility, there may be a little bit of work or a lot of work. But until you're facing in the direction you want to go, there is no possibility of getting there. You can't drive north if you're facing south, and especially if you don't even know it. So once you know it, once you know you have possibility, you can turn your car around. This is the moment of entertaining a possibility and facing toward it. You turn toward it. You turn away from the problem, turn away from the rock and toward the possibility. You can't see the woman you want to see if you're stuck believing that there is only an old woman there. And if you're clinging to it like you want to be right about something you don't want to be right about. So if you're yelling at someone who sees the young woman, no, there's no young woman. But really what you want is to be able to entertain more. Relax. Let's not be right, so right that we're actually wrong in not giving ourselves opportunity. So once you do know that you have possibilities in pretty much anything, if you choose to look that way, you turn the car around and you sit and you take a look at this new path. So let's do that. Come back to your problem. Okay? What did you choose in the beginning? Sit quietly here with the intention of putting a little distance between yourself and the emotions that you feel around this. Try pretending it's someone else's problem. Get into neutral mind, meditative neutral mind. Look at it calmly from there, like your friend would do for you. Look for the woman in the cartoon that is different than what you're used to seeing. Get excited or curious. Where is that other woman? Look at the river channel, not the boulder, with calm enthusiasm, like your friend would have. Now, write down 3 things you might do to begin moving toward possible thinking from this neutral mind. Going back to my kayak story, I sang myself a song. It made me laugh. It made me think of the river as something positive or benign or benevolent or loving or funny. And it shifted my nervous energy and it lightened the situation. And this helped me focus on the open channel rather than all the things that could go wrong. It relaxed me enough to see it. It gave me a reset. So could you find any humor? Can you recall a story of someone you know who had a positive outcome in a similar situation, such as losing a job and getting something better? Can you create some positive momentum to move toward possible by recalling other moments when you were in a jam? Maybe you'd run into a wall and then there was a light on the other side. How did that happen? And what did you do then? Write it down, think about it, get back into it. One of my favorite ways to move the needle is to do some other small but meaningful thing that jumpstarts your life force, your power, like listening to a podcast like this one, or getting up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow and starting the day meditating, exercising, moving your body, or face some smaller anxiety-provoking situation to get the ball rolling. Make the call, write the email, organize a drawer, and then come back to the situation with the vibration of accomplishment or the fire energy of I can burning in your body. This yogic concept of neutral mind reminds us that we are assigning good, bad, problem, possible all the time. And this shift, this change is just an opening. It just brings more space, more breath, more faith to you. So, from the tiny annoyances to the big trouble spots, do you believe that you can do this? Do you think you could just try it for today or tomorrow? Ask yourself, problem or possibility? All right, let's finish with our mindful moment. Go ahead and close your eyes if you can. If not, soften again. Imagine yourself in a big field of yellow flowers, as far as the eye can see. And see the sky above you. Feel the ground below you. Take in the spaciousness. Maybe you might imagine the aroma of the flowers. The warm golden yellow, that brightness, that optimistic color, and the calm beauty of blue, and that warm, solid, grounding earth. And you are here in the middle of a field of infinite possibilities for you. It's only the beginning. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you want. Can you feel it? Can you relax enough to feel it? Can you let yourself believe it? Can you soften enough to believe it? To believe in possibility? All right, taking a long inhale. Taking in that beautiful field and exhaling. If your eyes were closed, you might gently open them. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, taking the time for yourself, taking the time to share life with me. It means the world to me. I know that you're here for a reason. I know that we all are. And I'm so excited and so grateful to be discovering that together. Take good care of yourself. I'm sending all the love. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel for some yoga, and tell a friend. Send this podcast to a friend, to a family member, to somebody whose day it just might make, or week, or year. Who knows? This could be the door opening that they've been waiting for. All right, I'll see you soon. The light within me acknowledges, bows, and honors the light within you. Namaste.